Okay, back in the days when I was a corporate party band, yes, we had written contracts because we had people who'd never hired a band before or anything. They didn't know what they were doing. But in the club world, everybody's busy, and you've got the chain, you've got the email, right? It says, okay, we want this, that, and the other thing. That's cool. We'll see you that night. Load-ins, sound checks at 5. And that's your contract right there. The email specifies the details.
I want to get back for just a second to Julia's question about getting to Europe. Damien from the Indulgers. Everybody know who the Indulgers are? Okay, he's from Ireland, and he tries to take his band back to Ireland like once a year or so. And one of the ways he cuts costs is he makes it a party trip. He gets as many of his friends and family members and fans to go along with. And what he does is he finds a booking travel agent who will cut him a deal. And it's like for every 10 people you get who pay, somebody gets to go free. So if you got 3 people in your band, you need 30 of your fans to go with you, and you're flying free.
Isn't that a fairly recent concept, like in the last 5 or 6 years, Damien's doing that?
I know other bands are doing that as well.
Damien was the first person I had ever heard of, and I thought, that is pure genius. I thought, I've known Damien for years, and I thought, what a great idea, what an awesome way to cut your expense of an overseas trip. And you have an instant audience, too.
Yeah.
So then you can't complain, you're not bringing the draw.
Yeah, you're bringing, right off the bat, he's got 30 people at the show who are drinking.
One thing about that is, like a big point, you can't be an asshole to people, you gotta be nice to people. Because if you can't find 30 of your friends to go, you're not going on that trip.
One of the most important things about being your own booking agent is to be polite and be persistent, because a lot of booking, especially local booking guys, they don't want to talk to a bunch of basically idiot band people who don't know what they're doing and explain to them over and over again all the same things that they just explained to the last band. But if you're polite and, say, you send your email, hey, we'd like to play there, you wait a week, you call them, maybe you leave a message, somebody answers, you actually get to talk to somebody. If they say, no, we're not interested, just say, sorry to have taken up your time, and move on to the next venue. I actually have a really kind of a bad story about a guy, this just happened a couple of weeks ago at Herman's, that was actually kind of ridiculous. It's a hip-hop artist, I won't say his name, but he played there a couple of times before and nobody came to see him. So he has a CD release and he wants to do it at Herman's. And he calls up the regular booking guy, and the regular booking guy just said, literally, no, I don't want to book your act anymore, I'm not interested, go away. He was rude about it even. And this guy didn't give up. He called the owner of the club. And he called him over and over and over again until the owner finally said, okay, fine, I got a date I don't know what to do with, I'm having trouble booking it, I'll give you that. And this guy got his CD release show booked, and nobody came. But he did a good job booking. He didn't piss anybody off, he was always very polite, but very persistent, and I can confirm. You got it.
I was just going to say one thing about if you're touring, like what you guys were talking about, there are really good backline companies out there, and you probably know this. There's places like SIR in LA and San Francisco, and there's Sweetwave that's owned by Peter Fiore over in Lafayette. If you don't want to move your Hammond with you every place you go, those places are great options to, have somebody show up and deliver a B3 or a C3 or something like that you need for a gig, and a Leslie that you really don't want to cart with you across 2,000 miles of the United States.
I think that's only practical, though, if you're doing a one-off show. If you're doing a tour, you need to be touring with your whole backline. Otherwise, you're renting a backline every night.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, on a month-long tour, that's gonna.
But if you're
paying with your
if you're going from here to LA and you're going to do 2 or 3 shows, and you're going to have to drive from here to LA and then load all your crap and go back, that's a good option for moving a Hammond.
Yeah, Lori, and then we're going to.
Check the. I can't remember I got an email. Somebody's working on trying to get airlines to let you take your guitar on board home.
I saw that somewhere.
That
I actually put that on the Combo newsletter. There was a guy who,
Oh, maybe that's where I.
yeah, you probably saw it, and I actually enlisted the video. He ended up writing a song about it. I think it was United Breaks His Guitar. And they would not let him take the guitar on the airplane, so they put him in the underground check-in thing. And when he got to wherever he was going, his Taylor guitar was broken. So then he wrote this song, put it on YouTube, because United refused to do anything about it. They refused to replace his guitar. So the good news is after we put the video up about the song and that, Taylor Guitars is now sponsoring him. And they gave him a brand new guitar. And he got 1 million views, and he will not fly United anymore. But, yeah, so you have to, they are working on things like that. I actually belong to a group called Flyers Rights. And if you've ever had a problem with an airplane, go on to Flyers Rights and sign up. Diane, you want to say something?
I wanted to say, because I know Havok started touring when you guys weren't that old and you're just going to the band. But for the new band, the people that have just started the band, so what would you recommend how they need to find the bands to go, like out of state or out of the city? What advice do you have for doing that?
Well, like to be able to get gigs out of state, I think you need to be friends with people that are in touring bands, even if they're not necessarily big bands. If you can make friends with them, they'll come play the show, and then you can talk to them and say, hey, next time you come to Denver, I'll get you guys a show. How about when we go to Detroit, you give us a show? And that's a good way to go about it. You trade shows with people. And that way, when you go on tours, if you know enough people, you can just call them up and be like, hey, dude, my band's booking a tour. Why don't you book a show for us? And like I said, when you guys come back to town, we'll give you a show. You can just do that with everybody. That's how I know tons of people from doing that, just from seeing bands that were on tour, getting to talk to them. And
You were really good at hanging out at their shows, too.
yeah, I see shows and hang out and meet bands. And
He would watch Westward and stuff, and then when they said, some heavy metal band was playing at the Marquee, he made sure he was at the show and talking to him afterwards and getting phone numbers and stuff.
well, and as it turns out, some of the bands that I've become friends with have since then signed and become really big. So I know names in the industry, and it's just because I went to the show and made a point to know those people.
Yeah. This is just a real quick question for you, for both Dave and or Chuck. Is do you find that there's a minimum amount of touring, a minimum time slot of touring that's necessary to make the tour break even or profit? Is there a suggested number of weeks or a month or?
Well, being from Colorado, you need to go do at least a week of touring because Colorado's like 8 hours away from every other major city.
Right.
And like he said, if you go out east, it's a lot easier because the cities are all close together. But normally, I would say a couple weeks we need to go out to make a difference. And you don't want to, you don't want to pay for the show just to get drink tickets and a meal. You want to make sure that there's either a door deal or a guarantee involved. Otherwise, you're just going to be playing for 4 people. The bar will give you a cheeseburger and send you on a plane. That sucks. I've done that.
Well, then a good cheeseburger.
Yeah, you've got to